Hello, everyone. This is Omni Talk Retail. I'm Ann Mazinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are back once again from the Mirakl Go Beyond Summit here in New York City. Chris, it has been a lively day of interviews
Lively
so far.
lively day. The crowd is now all in keynotes.
Yes.
And so it's a little quieter than the last few times we've come to you live, but
Yes.
I'm excited for our next guest, Dan.
Yes, we have a wonderful gentleman who's come to chat with us today. We have Eskander Matta, the president of Tasharina Corporation, who's joining us. Welcome, Eskander. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and share my experiences.
Good, good. The summit's going okay for you so far?
Yeah, so far it's been filled with very entertaining content.
Good.
And, a great opportunity to also talk with fellow sellers and share experiences and insights.
Excellent.
So I've learned a lot already so far in just a few hours.
Great.
Awesome. Well,
Great.
let's start out. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, and Tasharina, too.
Of course, happy to do that. So my background actually is in general management, but also in management consulting, investment banking. And I actually got into the internet sector fairly early on in the late 90s. So I've been doing this for a while, and eventually about 10 years ago decided to strike out on my own and co-founded this company. And the name is actually a mashup of my two daughters' names. As I said, we've been in business for about 10 years, and we actually have a fairly complicated business. Now that I think about it, we actually operate both in Asia and here in the United States, in Kentucky, and the Bay Area is where we are headquartered. And we sell actually over 500,000 SKUs in 4 different major vertical markets, ranging from apparel and accessories to MRO kind of B2B items.
Wow.
So we have a very diverse set of SKUs that actually come from the same part of the world. So that's kind of the commonality. And we ship all over the world. We have marketplaces we work with in Australia, in Europe.
Oh, wow.
In North America. So it's actually a very complicated business. And large chunks of it actually run through Mirakl. So,
Okay.
So we've had a very long, relatively long partnership with Mirakl, and so definitely very happy to be here and learn how we can get more out of that platform.
Okay, Eskander, I have to ask you, you have 500,000 SKUs that you are putting onto marketplaces, multiple marketplaces. Can you explain for us? Chris and I had a
sounds hard.
Chris and I had a marketplace site for a very short period of time and didn't have anywhere near that number of SKUs for the whole site. So tell us a little bit about the onboarding process. Like, what does that look like from a seller's perspective going on one of these marketplaces?
No, I think that the initial investment can be pretty daunting.
Yeah.
Right? Because for these SKUs, you need to get all the basic data together, which in some cases comes from the suppliers, and some of them may not even operate in English, right? So you've got to kind of get that basic data together, and then you've got to conform it to a number of different seller requirements, right? And so, one of the largest channels for any seller is Amazon, and so we usually start with that.
You do?
Yeah, but then the challenge will be, okay, how do you take that same content and transform it for the various retail marketplaces that we operate on, right? And so that's where I think we're always looking for solutions to make that process faster, smoother. But that's or AI-powered solutions, things like that. So that is one of the big challenges for us, considering our core business is operating on retailer-supported marketplaces.
So explain a little bit specifically about the Mirakl onboarding process. Like, how does that is that different than some of the other marketplaces that you have go on, or is that how does that kind of stand out?
Yeah, well, so I think one of the things that's important to understand, and I'm sure you remember from your experience, is that these retailers have very, very strict requirements, right? For things like attribution, for content, the order of your content, the length of your fields, number of characters of your fields, things like that. So there's not really an industry standard listing format, if you would, right? And so I think that's one of the bigger challenges that we have in dealing with this. And I think one of the things that makes the Mirakl experience a bit different is that once we were able to get our SKUs into Mirakl, into Mirakl Connect, and get them on a few marketplaces, it actually just becomes easier from there, right? Because then you just need to do the incremental changes.
Okay.
So let's say marketplace A has it this way, marketplace B maybe incrementally has some differences, right? And so then you just need to solve for that, you know,
those single
those
use
deltas.
cases.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Exceptions,
So,
right?
Yeah, so actually what we found, and we sell now probably on 10, 15, some odd Mirakl marketplaces, is that it's just been getting easier and easier for us, right?
Wow.
And so now in terms of resourcing, I literally have like one person who's responsible for launching a new marketplace. And usually now, with some of the Mirakl functionality, it takes her maybe like a couple days.
What was it before?
Before it could take weeks.
And how many people? Like, how many people are you having on one marketplace?
We would have small teams that are basically going through and re-inputting the content,
right?
tweaking
It's doing the same thing
content.
over and over again,
doing
just
the
in a
same-
different way, right?
Yeah.
That's the other
Precisely,
thing,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And then then you go through all that and you find out that the marketplace rejected your SKU.
right.
But that is life, and so then you just have to keep trying it again.
Marketplace SKU rejection is life.
As a former retailer that was involved in this, I apologize to anyone that I ever did that to. All right, Eskander. So, you've kind of talked about it a little bit already, but let's go more in depth on it. So, why is it so important as a seller, like in your situation, to be on so many marketplaces?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest risks in our business is actually over-reliance on one channel.
Okay.
Right. So if you have 50, 60, 80, 90% of your business is on Amazon, you're really at the mercy of that channel, right? And I think what we've noticed is that over time that there's increasing competition there, and there's increasing fees and things of that nature. Like I think a much larger percentage of your price is actually going to Amazon, and some of these things that you may have thought at one point were optional has become table stakes.
Right.
So like FBA or sponsored product ads, things like that. So if you go and diversify onto other marketplaces, then you kind of have other sources of revenue where there's less competition, or there's the costs may be lower for some similar functionalities, or you can just fulfill from your own warehouse, which you've already invested in and operate. So it spreads your risk. And you can get into new channels, new geographies. So through Mirakl, we've gotten into Europe, we've gone to Australia, things like that with some Mirakl marketplaces. So it's really diversified the company a great deal, and I think for us, made us a more compelling story and sleep better at night.
And how many marketplaces, Mirakl marketplaces, are you on right now?
I actually honestly have lost count.
Really?
But I think
it's that many?
It's probably in the neighborhood of like 15 or something.
Wow.
Like that.
Wow.
So, but yeah, and some of them are huge, and some of them are just getting going. So it's a pretty good range.
Across how many countries again, roughly? Or continents, I should say. Maybe that's easier.
Probably four or five continents.
4 or 5 continents.
Yeah. And a fair number of countries in there.
Nice.
Well, I should have asked this in the onboarding process, but what's the like brand marketplace like matchmaking scenario look like through this Mirakl? Like what is it like when the marketplaces are reaching out to you, and like is that facilitated in some way? I mean, explain that like partnership or like matchmaking a little bit.
Sure. Well, yeah. So there's a component of Mirakl called Mirakl Connect, which maybe I mentioned earlier, and some aspect of that is that there is a network there of marketplaces and also the sellers.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't know actually what's under the hood, but sellers are able to find marketplaces and reach out to them, and also marketplaces are able to find sellers where they think they see a catalog match.
Sure.
I've had sellers marketplaces reach out to me through Mirakl Connect and say, oh, we saw your items on some other marketplace, and we think they would be a great fit for us.
Right.
Would you like to, try, connect and try to sell some product with us?
Yeah.
And honestly, that's how I got, for instance, into Australia. So an Australian marketplace reached out to us. I had never thought to actually sell in Australia at this point in our life cycle.
Right.
And but we went ahead and gave it a try, and so we're doing that. And Mirakl kind of made the onboarding relatively easy and made that matchmaking part relatively easy. And similarly for me, if I've seen some I can go through a catalog of marketplaces in Mirakl and do some background research, and if I see that there's a marketplace backed by a retailer with a fairly large store footprint, reputable, I'll reach out to them and say, okay, here's a little bit about us and our catalog. Here's some links.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in a partnership?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get a reciprocal expression of interest, and
you both swipe right. You both swipe right. It's done. You can go beyond.
All right. Well, let's get you out of here on this. I mean, you've already talked about how Mirakl helps you go down under, literally. So the theme of this conference is the summit is Go Beyond. So let's finish with that. So how else does Mirakl help you go beyond, so to speak?
I think that the main component of that answer would really be the new markets, right? So Mirakl just has a tremendous network of marketplaces, like 450, I think, maybe 500, 400, 500, somewhere in that range.
Jesus. Huge
number of marketplaces. And as I mentioned before, we're a fairly broad-based seller with a lot of SKUs. So when I feel like we have some bandwidth in the business to, add another marketplace, I just go into this catalog, try to find some places, reach out, and then usually we get a match.
Yeah. It's retailing beyond borders, Ann.
That's right. It's going beyond. Going beyond.
Going beyond.
So we're definitely going beyond our initial few marketplaces into other marketplaces, other product lines, other geographies. So definitely Mirakl is powering a lot of our going beyond strategy.
I think we hit the quota of going beyond and saying the slogan. Eskander, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. It was so great to hear a seller's perspective. We hear from the retailers often, but it's really good to hear a seller's
really interesting perspective
and what it means to really be able to get exposure in all of these continents and countries. So thanks again. We will be back with just a couple more interviews today from the Mirakl Go Beyond Summit. And until then,
be careful out there.